Hello, everyone. My name is Sabine Matharu. I am a business strategist and business growth specialist. I love working with coaches, consultants, and therapists. And today I'm going to really talk about being honest with ourselves. And the question here is, are you honest in your business? And are you living and doing the things to your highest potential? So the question really is, are you honest with yourself when it comes to implementing in your business? Because I tell you what, one of the things I have done for the longest time, and I haven't seen results until I actually changed that. And that what I've done for the longest time in my business was watching others, comparing myself to others. So the question now is, let's look at this. Let's look at this phenomenon and how you can shift and getting into gear as to getting into action mode. Because once you stop focusing on others, once you stop focusing, continuously learning and going on to all different webinars and thinking you are not good enough yet, that you need more information, that you need the next best, latest strategy, then believe me, it's not going to, long term, if you keep on doing it, it's not going to serve you in the best possible way. Okay, so there are 3 steps that can really help you shift from a follower, from a learner, into getting in, becoming a doer and implementing. And I'm telling you this because I've been a follower and a learner and a hider for a long, long time. And only when I start stepping out of that energy and really pushing pushing myself out of my comfort zone, because I wanted to just sit back and in my cocoon. I was scared of doing a Facebook Live, believe it or not. I was scared of reaching out to people and perhaps being judged or perhaps not being liked, not listened to, getting a no, from clients or potential clients, not making sales, being a failure. That's what I was, until I realized. I stopped for a moment and it was like, hang on, let me be very honest with myself and let me connect with my original why. Why have I started my business in the first place? Because I wanted to make an impact. Yes, I wanted to create something that I'm in control in, and I wanted to create something that would allow me to work around my own schedule, my children. And I wanted to create something that would help, create a lifestyle, a better lifestyle, and give my family a better future. And then I stopped. I was like, hang on, but I am not really showing up in that way. I am not really doing the things. I'm not really making an impact. So I really had to be honest around this. So if this resonates with you as well, let's be honest. Just give me a thumbs up. I know it hurts, but if we don't stop and we don't take stock, we can't change, right? Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you so much. I love you guys. So let's be honest with ourselves, because if we always, it's like having a carpet and we're just sort of putting under the carpet. Yeah, I'm not quite making the income that I want to make in my business, but yeah, it's okay. Well, let's see next month, but let's wait and see. Let's wait and see. Let's go to another webinar. Let me go and discover this new app, this new strategy, this new software that's going to help me. Well, actually, it could help, in the grand scheme of things, maybe not. Maybe it's about us stepping into an uncomfortable position, putting ourselves out there, out of the comfort zone, and really, really showing up. And this can be really super simple. I mean, you can just have like a Facebook group where you show up, where you don't even need any sort of crazy tools to help like build sales funnels, although this is what I do with my clients. But I love doing all the techie stuff. But you know what? You could keep it so simple to start with. Honestly, it's about building relationships. So Step number one, and if you want to do this on my live stream here, I'd encourage you, I'd love you to do that. Declare your goal openly to the outside world, because you're making that statement. And you know what? I think we would be embarrassed if we then didn't pursue that goal, right? Like, I set myself a goal of starting a Clubhouse room, and I've been very nervous about this, believe it or not. I was nervous doing my first Facebook Live. I was probably one of the last people who actually did Facebook Live. Like, I don't know, it's maybe me. But now I've started a room. It's like, yes, it's you know, the first doing it the first time round, and then that hurdle is like you've overcome that hurdle, and that's not a limit anymore. So what's your goal? What's something that you can go and do maybe tomorrow, that you've been sort of contemplating about and thinking about for the longest time, and you keep on pushing it, and then thinking, oh, it feels uncomfortable, it feels scary, I don't want to do it. So declare the goal. So I declared the goal. I'm starting in Clubhouse in April. I think it was early April. Now we're at end of April. And I'm like, I gotta do it in April before April ends. And because I've declared it. I've declared it to my Facebook group and my mentor, my accountability partners, and I didn't want to fail in that respect. You know what? It's a small win, but it's a starting point. So that's step number one. It's declare your goal officially. So start being honest with yourself and declare the goal. Okay, number two. I think it's important just to think about what exactly is your immediate next step. So often we look at the whole thing. It's like, yeah, I'd love to have all of this amazing stuff in my business. I want to, create webinars. I want to do challenges. I want to run courses. I want to have passive income, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much that we could be doing. And it's like, this is the big elephant, right? So it feels like we have to, there's so much work. But what is it really that you can do as the very next step? So it's almost like, obviously we know what the big, you may have like a big sort of roadmap as to what are your milestones, as to by when you want to create something, right? But sometimes we can't plan everything, and we can't foresee everything. That nobody would have foreseen the pandemic happening, and then people had to shift and just think off their feet. And if something doesn't work in your business, it's the same thing. If something doesn't work, you have to go back and think, well, why did this not work? Why did I not have enough leads? Why did I not make enough sales? You have to go back and be honest with yourself about that as well, right? And think, right, what's the next step that I can make in my journey? And then the next step will reveal itself. Sometimes it isn't as straightforward that all the different 10, 20 steps for the next 12 months. So it's like, okay, what do I want to create? So if I think about like the next month will be May. What can we create in May? Can you create a webinar? Can you go into different Facebook groups and promote yourself and show up and maybe do a Facebook Live if they allow it? And can you set yourself a goal to grow your Facebook group or your network on LinkedIn, whatever it is, by X amount of people in the month of May? So that will be your next best step. And I know the next step will then reveal itself. It's almost like you're walking through sort of fork, and as you are walking, you will see, what comes up, how big the boulders are on the floor, and where the curves are. And sometimes we don't always see that until we have taken that next step, until we have tested something in our business, until we've actually gone and did it. And sometimes we need to fail, but don't see it as a failure. Don't think I'm a failure, I wasn't able to do this. How many times I launched webinars, I did webinars and challenges, and I didn't have any sales. Only because I did that, I went back to the drawing board and made it better and better and smoother and smoother. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, now it works. But it takes time and energy, and a lot of coaches are not telling you that. I know a lot of coaches are going out there and saying, hey, I made 100K in the last 3 days, and then you think this is normal. Well, it's probably not normal, because Business is like an iceberg. You can only see the tip of an iceberg of someone's business, and they can only tell you that much. There's so much underneath the water that's going on. Perhaps a lot of trial and error, tweaking, investments, all of that stuff you don't see. So don't ever compare yourself to another business who may be already so much further ahead. All you see is the tip of the iceberg, their numbers, their recent numbers, and that's how they promote themselves. So that was step two. Step two, yeah, it's about being honest and looking at what's your immediate next step. Okay, and the third and last step is stop thinking that you need to be perfect. Stop consuming too much. I do still consume. I love, being updated. It's the FOMO, isn't it? But how can you set boundaries around that and start doing? So start implementing. So I now have a bit of a mantra. Every time I do a webinar or I'm a participant of a webinar, let's say, I I want to implement one of the things that I learn, because the thing is, we can learn and learn and learn, but if we don't implement, things are not going to move forward in our business. If you're only absorbing information, we're not going to see the transformation in our business. And that is step number 3. So just to summarize before I hop off, be honest with yourself, right? So this is the topic that I was talking about. The question is, are you honest with yourself when it comes to doing versus um, doing in your business and implementing? And are you seeing the results? If not, please go back to the steps that I taught you earlier. So number 1, it's about declaring your goal uh, publicly somewhere, right? So that you have that accountability and the spotlight. Number 2, plan out your single next step that is right in front of you, and the path will become clearer and clearer. If you can't see all the curves and twists and turns yet, do the next thing, the next best thing that you can do, and plan out the next 30 days, for example. And number 3, stop consuming, continue watching my lives, please. And join my Facebook group. I leave a link there as well. And I'm on Clubhouse, of course. But yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. Stop consuming massive amounts of webinars, and that you need to go and search for that tool that's going to do the work for you, or some magical formula. I've not found it. It is really about going and doing stuff, right? More than absorbing information. It's about showing up. It's about creating relationships, adding value. Just be yourself as well, I guess. You don't need to be someone else, and you don't need to be perfect. So if you thought this was stimulating, I'd love to have you perhaps come and join Clubhouse if you are there. If for those that are not in Clubhouse, I leave my Facebook group. I'm growing my Facebook group right now. I have a lot of trainings going in there actually next week. So if you, depending on when you're watching it, but it's going to be 4th and 5th of May. I have 2 sessions, free training sessions in there, talking about how to set up a 6-figure business. And we will be talking about lead generation. We'll be talking about how to create webinars. And I also talk about offers, lead magnets, all the different things. So there's a mix of things in there as well. And we also have some guest speakers. We have promo is allowed, and we do it in a really nice way. And from time to time, I also run a bit of a speed networking event, which is like hopping on a Zoom and connecting with each other on a one-to-one or like a group scenario as well. So my group is called Grow and Launch Your Online Business for Female Entrepreneurs. And I'm also on Clubhouse on Tuesdays, on Thursdays. So I look forward to connecting with you further, and I will see you soon. Hope that was useful, and go and implement. All right, take care.